Welcome to this webinar, Making the Most of Wood. Everyone in the timber supply chain wants to be sure that the products they're offering to customers are fit for purpose, will offer good value, and are supplied with instructions on safe and effective use. That's almost a definition of good customer service. This presentation explains how you can do that for preservative treated wood, and it outlines the support and resources available from the Timber Trade Federation, the Wood Protection Association, and from our members to help you along the way. But we need to start at the beginning with a living tree in the forest. All mature trees have an inner core known as the heartwood, surrounded by an outer layer of younger sapwood. The sapwood is where the tree stores the nutrients essential to growth. These food reserves remain after the tree is logged and sawn into components. The heartwood of some species contains naturally occurring chemicals, the waste byproducts of growth, that make it relatively durable and provides some resistance to decay and insect attack. The degree of natural durability varies from species to species. In many species, the heartwood is slightly darker in colour. Sapwood, on the other hand, is a source of food for many species of fungi and insects, and it's always vulnerable to attack. The risk of attack increases significantly if the moisture content of wood, for any reason, rises above 20%. For example, poor installation practice, poor maintenance, persistent condensation or damp. A significant proportion of sapwood is likely to be present in the plantation-grown softwood that we use for building. Hence, the precaution is taken to enhance this low natural durability by treating many softwood timbers with preservative prior to use. Wood protection technology helps to optimize the amount of harvested timber that can be usefully gained from the tree. With appropriate treatment, timber of low natural durability can be used in a wide variety of situations. This maximizes the yield, significantly improves service life, and of course reduces waste, making the most of wood. Timber preservatives for softwood materials provide tailored levels of protection from decay and insect attack, making the resulting wood more durable and offering reliable longer-term performance. Making the most of timber resources in this way also reduces pressure on more naturally durable but perhaps scarcer species of wood. However, it's a mistake to assume that all pressure-treated wood is the same. While one piece of treated wood may look very much like any other, the level of preservative protection could be very different. That's because national technical standards for wood preservation require that the loading and penetration of preservative impregnated into the wood is tailored to the desired end use. Consumer and contract law require that any product offered for sale must be fit for its intended use, and a wood product impregnated with preservative is no exception. The minimum standards for the treatment of wood are set out in British Standard 8417 and the WPA Code of Practice Industrial Wood Preservation. In these standards, the level of treatment is tailored to the application use class of a wood product as defined in BS EN 335. The practical outworking of this is that a designer can specify a structural timber component that will be expected to perform in a defined end-use environment for a defined desired service life. This is where preservative pre-treatment can particularly give specifiers the documented assurance they're looking for. The level of protection conferred by a wood preservative depends on its method of application. Brush, dip or spray applied products will afford a degree of protection, but for extended service lives of 15, 30 or even 60 years, typically only wood pressure pre-treated by an industrial penetrating process can give the required level of protection for the life of the component. The most widely used process for applying preservative treatments to both solid wood components and to some panel products is vacuum pressure impregnation. This is carried out by specialist companies in large pressure autoclaves under factory controlled conditions. Industrial impregnation plants are sealed and controlled systems. There's no wastage of preservative or risk to the environment, and human exposure during the process is prevented. Plant control software systems significantly enhance quality control and data reporting around the treatment operation. Depending on the specification, differing amounts of preservative are impregnated into the timber. Penetration requirements differ depending on whether heartwood material can be distinguished from the sapwood or not. Certain timber species, due to their cell structure, are more difficult to treat. Pressure treatment is therefore the best option to ensure penetration of the treatment reaches the greatest depth possible. Additional techniques such as incising may be required to help these resistant species achieve the penetration requirements, particularly for ground contact applications. Compliance is achieved by meeting penetration requirements to an acceptable quality level. As can be seen from this slide, sometimes the preservative does not penetrate right through the wood cross-section. It's therefore important to always retreat cut ends with a brush coating and never put those cut ends into the ground. When specifying a preservative treatment, the level of protection required depends on a number of aspects. Firstly, the timber species, its durability and ability to accept treatment. Secondly, where the timber component is to be used, for example, a fence post, cladding, etc. For how long the component needs to perform before it is either replaced or taken down. Usually 15, 30 or 60 years. The national technical standards consider all of these elements and give guidance on the loading and penetration of timber preservative, all to ensure that treated timber is fit for its desired end use. Working in tandem with BSEN 335, Durability of Wood and Wood-Based Products, the WPA Code of Practice for Industrial Wood Preservation groups the applications for treated wood into use classes. The most commonly used for preservative treatment being 2 for interior applications and use class 3 and 4 for exterior uses. Let's look in detail at what each use class covers. Use class 2 is for end uses where wood is used indoors, above ground and within the building envelope, but with an occasional risk of wetting, for example from condensation in or around the insulation in a cold roof space. While the risk of failure in service as a result of decay or insect attack in use class 2 applications may be relatively low, the cost and difficulty of remedial work on such structural timbers may be significant. So preservative treatment is still recommended. NHBC, for example, specify that all structural timbers in timber frame structures must be treated to use class 2 for this reason. Common use class 2 treated components have a minimum preservative retention requirement to offer a 60-year desired service life. Use class 3 is for end uses where wood is used outdoors but not in contact with the ground. Use class 3U is for uncoated timber components such as deck boards, cladding, fence rails and so on. Use class 3C is aimed at the specialist joinery product sector such as painted timber, windows and doors. Preservative penetration and retention requirements for common use class 3 uncoated components are set to offer a minimum 15-year service life, with the option of an extension to 30. Preservative penetration retention requirements for common use class 3C, that's coated components, are set to offer a minimum 30-year desired service life. Use class 4 is for end uses where wood is in contact with or very close to the ground and frequently wet, or material that is providing exterior structural support. Use class 4 is for timber components such as fence posts, decking or boardwalk substructure components such as joists, beams and posts, and for playground equipment. Preservative penetration and retention requirements for common use class 4 components are set to offer a minimum 15-year desired service life, with an option to extend to 30 years. At the Timber Trade Federation AGM in November 2020, their members unanimously voted to implement their Preservative Treatment Action Plan by formally adopting it into the TTF Code of Conduct, further reinforcing the Federation's campaign to grow demand for quality treated wood under its Timber You Can Trust strategy. Their 3-point plan includes specify, buy, identify and market treated wood accurately and unambiguously, provide customers with clear information on how to correctly handle and use treated wood products safely and effectively, and obtain third-party accreditation for production of treated wood, treated timber you can trust. WPA has been fully involved in this process to date and will continue to work in partnership with TTF and its members to help ensure the successful implementation of what is a significant initiative for our industry. An industry-wide educational campaign has been launched to promote the correct use of treated timber in all applications based on the use class system of treatment and specification. This presentation is part of that initiative. The campaign will help to underpin confidence in and so support sales of treated timber as a reliable construction material. With a focus on fence posts and strainers, the strapline Follow the Ground rules highlights the basic requirements needed to ensure long-lasting ground contact timbers. Specify use class 4 levels of preservative treatment. Make sure it's 4. Use a trusted treater who has third-party accreditation. Be prepared to pay for quality. And let's look at each one of those in a little bit more detail. When ground contact timber is treated correctly to use class 4, it's fit for purpose. Evidence from the independently managed large-scale WPA UK field trial of treated fence posts supports this. Anything less than UC4 in ground contact and service life, safety and customer expectations may be compromised. As just mentioned, the Timber Trade Federation is making third-party quality certification mandatory for its members producing and selling treated wood products in the UK. This means preservative treated wood should be produced by or purchased directly or indirectly from a treatment provider whose operation has been audited, assessed and approved under an independent and reputable accreditation scheme, such as the WPA benchmark scheme in the UK, the Nordic NTR scheme, or any other similar national scheme. Premium products incur higher costs, especially where better grade timber is used, and in sizing is applied to achieve a higher specification of treatment. But their inherent value is priceless when performance in the field is paramount. Put very simply, you get what you pay for. Let's look at some of the key do's and don'ts about specifying and installing treated wood. Do establish the use class of the timber you need before you order it. Do tell your supplier in writing that the wood must be treated to that particular use class to comply with BS 8417. Ask them to verify that the wood supplied meets your use class specification, either on the delivery note, an invoice, or a treatment certificate. When buying from stock, always check to which use class the wood has been treated. When cross-cutting, notching or boring treated timber products during installation, always apply an end-grain preservative treatment to freshly exposed areas to maintain the integrity of the protection. Do not supply wood that has been treated for external use for what you know will be internal applications. And lastly, but certainly not least, do not use wood that has been treated for an indoor application in an external environment. Failure is inevitable. For wood in permanent ground or freshwater contact or providing exterior structural support, use class 4 levels of protection must be achieved. Anything less than service life, structural safety and customer satisfaction will be compromised. Never put cut ends in the ground, even if end grain coated. To summarise, it's a mistake to assume that all pressure treated wood is the same. While one piece of treated wood may look very much like any other, the level of preservative protection could be very different. When specifying a preservative treatment, the level of protection required depends on a number of aspects, predominantly where the timber component is to be used. Interior and exterior environments are very different, and so treated wood performance levels must reflect this. And finally, head over to the WPA website to learn more and download and share any of the useful, free and easy to use resources. If you go to our Resource Centre page, you'll find Buyer's Guide, guidance notes on a whole wide range of applications and factors on treated wood, codes of practice, online learning resources, and also an open out poster summarising advice for builders and merchants. Thank you very much, and for more information please do just get in touch. Thank you.